Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Resident Evil 4 on professional difficulty, and this is my no damage run of the aforementioned difficulty. And this is chapter 1-2. Every chapter, for your reference, will be contained in one video, as I always do it, no matter the length of the video. And all the videos will be in 1080p at 60 frames per second, but you have to realize that the videos go through a necessary depreciation when they're put on YouTube. That is to say, the quality deteriorates just due to the nature of the video that I'm uploading being a copy of a copy of a copy. So this fight is just hellacious, and a moment ago you saw me show you the contents of my attaché case. To get the best value from items from the merchant, what you need to do is concoct things and then give him back what you've concocted. For instance, the beauty of a run like this, for instance, is that any healing items that you pick up, like the chicken eggs or the first aid sprays, all that can be given back to the merchant for money, because obviously we're not going to need those items. But as far as the items that you pick up that don't count as weighted inventory, like the jewels and the beer steins and the masks and things like that, you don't just want to sell the vendor individual things. If you're looking to get the highest price back from him, what you need to do is consult a crafting list on YouTube or somewhere on the internet, because I could just sit here. It would take a long time for me to spout out all the items that you can craft. But to get the most money from the vendor, you need to combine items and give him the combined item to get the most money. You just don't want to sell him individual things. Now, I did save I saved my progress halfway through this fight. I think it was a judicious decision. Cowardly? I don't think so. I think you would be sympathetic if you knew what was going on with this fight. It's absolutely horrendous, because I don't know about you, but most of my deaths, I would say 95% of my deaths are in this particular zone, it was all getting sickles thrown at me, plain and simple, when I was standing on top of the ladder. And the overarching goal of this section is to grab the two fragments that you need to combine to then place in the door and progress on through the chapter. If you just want to make a bold run for the parts, I've tried to do that, and I've just got overrun by enemies. So what I've done is just taken my time over here, cleared up half of the enemies, went back and saved it, and there will be no bullshitting from between me and you. I'll tell you when I'm saving. I think it was at about this point that I saved it. So the quadrants in this zone are regulated by enemies standing on top of the houses, and then when you fire on them or go into them, you'll aggro enemies. For instance, I did want to talk about that. Did you see how the pitchfork went right through me? That's because you have iframes during the cutscenes, which is very helpful. Now, if you stand here and crouch, then the guy that's standing, the guy who has projectiles, he won't attack you unless you're a little bit more visible to him. But from this point here, I didn't experience anybody sneaking up on me. And what we're going to do is try to get a couple of headshots. And my goal right here, it really isn't to get the fragments at this point. It's just to kill all the enemies. A lovely sensation comes over me when I hear when the music subsides, and I know that the game is giving me that audio feedback that all the enemies are cleared. And in the last video I mentioned that enemies need to be on their knees for you to do the quick time event. It's not true. They just need to be, you need to stagger them so that they're stunned for a second. And the reach that these enemies have, it can't be underestimated, as well as sometimes their grab is a little longer. The animation, you'll have to reverse in your tracks a little bit more. I'll show you that in a little bit with one of these other enemies. But what I'm going to do now is take out my rifle and just get a couple of headshots. Because what I don't want to do is run to the perch where I need to go and have to deal with an enemy who I might end up just colliding with, and he might grab me. So the two guys, that's where I want to stand, where he is at. And the sway in this game is something that I don't mind too much, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it doesn't annoy me at times. So to decrease the sway of a weapon, there are things that you can buy, such as the stocks, so that he will, the character that is, will put the gun a little bit firmer against his shoulder and there will be less sway. Okay, so the guy that I'm looking for now was the guy that was residing on this tower here, and I'm looking for him to make sure that, you know, he's all cleared up. Because my next goal is to go to one of the spawn points, spawn everybody, and then run to the top of the ladder. There are also incendiary barrels around this vicinity too that you can use to your advantage. But the thing you have to know here is that after you get this headshot on this guy, if you choose to do so, don't even waste time reloading. Just run to the sandbag, jump over, space yourself out from the barrel a little bit. Look how fast this fucking enemy got to me. See? That's what's going on here, and this is the area where one of the fragments is, but I'm not going to risk it because there will be plenty of time to get the fragments once everybody's done with. Plenty of time to do all the looting. So this is where I want to go, right up here. The main risk, as you well imagine, is the enemies throwing projectiles. So what I want to do is stand atop the ladder and knife everybody as they're coming up. But sometimes, I think sometimes if you stick your neck out a little bit too far, so to speak, before you start crouching and knifing and not giving these guys the opportunity to get to the ladder, they will, you know, if they're too far. Like if an enemy is approaching the ladder and if there's too much space in between where the enemy's at and the ladder, he's likely to throw stuff at you. I mean, I don't even know which ones of these enemies throw stuff, but I'm pretty sure there's a sickle thrower among these guys here. So all this is just knifing everybody, and we're just waiting for the music to subside. This game is, what did I call this game privately? What did I say to myself? It was it's intense. It's fucking intense, and what it makes me feel inside is Ninja Gaiden 2. Like that intensity when I'm playing. Like that's pretty much what I thrive on when I play games. And make no mistake about it, some games, they're not games. To me, a game has to be an intense experience for me to call it a game. Otherwise, I just call it trash. It's not a game. So anyway, this is the last of the enemies here, and I'm not taking any chances from these guys. I'm not giving them the opportunity to throw anything at me. So I'm staying back and shotgunning everybody that I can. So obviously this is a survival horror game, and every bullet's precious. Although a lot of the expense that you would normally accrue while you're going through the game buying healing items, that can be put towards buying bullets. So that's another reason to do this no damage. But the fucking music in this game is so good. But yeah, I did want to stress about the item crafting. Find a video or find a graph or a diagram that shows you what to put in what to get the most money back from that, and that's going to help you to buy the things you need to buy the tune-ups that you need for your weapons and everything like that. So I believe all these enemies are cleared, and we've got a difficult fight coming up. All there is in this game is difficult fights. But I'm always nervous with what I would call old-fashioned games like this, and I'm not dissing this game whatsoever. I love this game, but you make no mistake about it. He doesn't move. You can't move the character when he shoots, which, you know, when this game came out, that wasn't common. So you're locked in place. There's tank controls. There's no sensitivity settings. If there were sensitivity settings, you would have such an upper hand on these battles. Just imagine getting down on enemies and knifing them a lot quicker than you can already. I mean, when you lean down to start knifing an enemy that you've kicked to the ground, it takes an eternity for it's like he's an 80-year-old man bending down to knife somebody. I don't have a Wii or a Wii U. I don't have those. I don't know if I would want to necessarily play with a nunchuck. I never liked that. I never really played any game that used it. Because when I had the Wii U, I had a Wii before too, but so anyway, yeah, these videos will be in 1080p at 60 frames per second. So also realize that I've got a lot of stuff going in my life too, and I've got I can't devote every single second of my life to gaming, so there will be some downtime during the uploads. And also, I can't render a file while I'm playing and recording, or even while I'm just playing without recording. This game is pretty demanding on the PC, although I do have a GTX 760, which usually can do a lot of multitasking. This part is killer. So when you come in here, see the long grab that guy has. It's not that he grabs you from more of a distance, but you have to back off for longer and backtrack over here. So it looks kind of easy when you're just watching people play, but when you start to do it, there's definitely a skill involved to it. And obviously we can't shoot metal doors, only the wood ones. And a lot of times in this game too, like in older games, enemy spawns, you'll see them in the distance, but they won't be moving. And the thing is, it's either that you're not looking at them or that you're not close to them. And I'll show you a little bit of an example of that coming up. But you can definitely take advantage of enemies just frozen in place, waiting to aggro, to do nice headshots on them. And that's what I've been doing a little bit over here. But there are a lot of items over here, and you do not want to miss them. So I'll point them out when they come. And if you think there's a checkpoint anywhere over here, there's not. So I find it a little bit lamentable that there's so many enemies that throw shit at you. I hate it. And also, when you kick an enemy, if he's closer to another enemy, it will have a chain reaction, and it will affect other enemies and deal damage to them. And it's really a beautiful thing. So basically, you want to instigate them grabbing you, knife them in the face, knife them on the ground, and then kill them. Pretty simple. After you kick them with the context button, if you can get it. And I may have said that a little bit out of order, but I'm just trying to remember this up here. You can go through these windows less violently if you knife the glass first. That's what I did find. And technically there's no camera in this game. I mean, you can move to the left and to the right. You can see more of the peripheral vision, but you can't rotate it 360 degrees, and that's one of the problems over here. There is also an option in the next room to crouch, but I find it a little bit useless, seeing that this is not a cover-based shooter and all you can really do there is just cower. There's nothing else that you can do. So what I'm trying to do is that a couple of times. And if dynamite is thrown too close to you, obviously you're dead. There's no second chances, at least on a run like this. And the concussion of the blast on the ground will stagger Leon, and he will not be able to move for a certain time. But what we're looking for now is the guy to come through the door with the pitchfork, and we want to take out these traps. There's I believe there's 6 of them. But what I said about enemies not moving, this is what I was talking about, and you'll be able to see it in a minute. The actions of the guy that's coming up are governed by my proximity to him. So if I stand back and don't get too close to him, he won't even move, although he can clearly see me. I'm in his line of sight. So I'm going to equip this and try to get a headshot, and there we go. You shitty bitch. And then there's a guy behind him too. And did experience a little bit of clipping over here, but I think it's not, I can't really say that the game is at fault here, because I was trying to cheat the rules of the game a little bit by trying to shoot ahead, like through the geometry of the door. But watch out where I'm standing now. There's also 3 more bear traps, which I think I've already disabled. But this happens very frequently in this game. It will happen in the beginning of the next chapter, and I think a couple other times in the next chapter. Yeah. See? He's not even... He's moving, obviously. He's swaying a little bit, but he's not aggroed at all. 1 more enemy is left. And anytime you see me run past things in this game, it's normally because I just want to get to the encounter, and I know that I can come back and get them off camera. And I believe I did this 2 times. I did this twice. Well, I did it, I think it took 45 minutes to do this, but I redid this because when I first did it and succeeded, it was kind of in a lucky way, and I wasn't really sure of my surroundings over here. So this is the mask that was visible when we came into this area. You do want to pick that up. You can apply some of the jewels to that to augment the value of it when you sell it to the merchant. And when you smash things, if I'm not mistaken, it's just completely random. Not necessarily what you get, but if you get anything. But this will be the last guy. I don't... Yeah, he doesn't have a projectile. Got a melee weapon. But just assess the risk factor here. Like, do I just want to waste 1 bullet and get him done? Or try to get, risk the grab after I've done so much without a checkpoint? I know there's no checkpoint. And that's just 1 bullet. Sometimes I waste 5 bullets trying to hit something down off of a tree. Because of the sway, it's messing me up, but do not have enough room to put this fish in here. And I guess it's just as well. Perhaps I can come back. So that acts as a healing item too, and the merchant buys everything. He doesn't really care what you have. He'll take it. What else did I want to say? Well, as far as my tune-ups for my weapons, I have not made any, except to the TMP. My other reason for that is because I know I'm going to be getting the riot gun and the Punisher, and I don't want to make any purchases, many tune-ups to my handguns when I know I'm getting other weapons that I don't think carries over. Okay. Sometimes you'll see me take... I hate when they put the fucking snakes in. That is just so cruel. For instance, look how many shots I waste on this tree. Because I was shooting at the wrong thing. A bird got killed accidentally. That was at least something. I would say always kill the birds. Try not to kill the chickens because they do drop the eggs, and if you kill them, they can't drop the eggs. I've tried to kill the cows. They don't seem to yield anything. But that was, like 5 shots to clear a trap strung between 2 trees. And earlier, I just wasted 1 shot to kill an enemy, so don't always think that shooting is necessarily going to be your demise, because it's part of how you survive in this game. So we just did a puzzle, and this is the end of the chapter. Take care.